because their populations are enraged. The Turks are enraged. The one place where people are not as enraged, interestingly enough, is Iran. And the Iranian leadership, despite whatever you may hear publicly, desperately wants to avoid a war with Israel, primarily because they don't want to go to war with us.
Last subject matter, Colonel. Was there recently some military activity by the Houthis, which resulted in about 70 deaths of IDF and some American contractors, about which you can tell us?
Well, I can tell you only what I found through open source material. I haven't seen anything classified, but I am reliably told that roughly 70 Israeli so-called commandos or special forces, special operations force types, along with some number of Americans, the total number was 70. How many were Israeli and how many were American mercenaries that were joined in this operation? I don't know what the exact breakdown was, but it was obviously mostly Israeli. And they infiltrated successfully into Yemen, but they were tracked from the moment they infiltrated by overhead satellites, presumably Russian. And the Russians provided this information to the Iranians, who immediately telegraphed it to the Houthis. And whatever you say about the Houthis is that they're tough hombres on the battlefield. They set up an ambush and they killed all of them. And there is footage of the dead. And I haven't had a chance to examine it carefully, but clearly most of it's Israeli, but there are indisputably some American mercenaries there. There may be some Brits mixed into it who are also employees of the same contract firm. Now, this is something very important for everybody listening to understand. Persistent surveillance today changes everything in warfare. It not only enables precision strike on a scale that has never been the case in the past, it makes it impossible for forces to infiltrate into regions without being discovered. It makes so-called surprise attacks on the scale of Pearl Harbor an impossibility. We don't really want to come to terms with that in the United States. We continue to look at forces from the vantage point of the Second World War and the distant past. Those days are over. You can't cross the Atlantic with impunity. You can't do very much of anything without being detected. So the point is that this is a wake-up call, not just for the Israelis or the contractors who are part of this, but this should be a wake-up call for all of us. And we need to take it very, very seriously, because the only way to wage war in this setting is to disrupt the space-based reconnaissance, intelligence, and surveillance. When you do that, the game changes, and you're really in full-blown war. Then you have to have the ability to rapidly recover from the loss of your satellites through other redundant means. The Israelis understand that, and they're probably prepared for it. We are not. And that's really what we should take from this. And we should not continue to underestimate these militias. They're very deadly organizations.